Wow, assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Welcome everybody that's already on. I'm just going to mute some of you and I'm going to play a quick video whilst we wait for the appointed time.
Okay, so this is what give a chance. Some of them got caught. One last time. One, two.
Wow, that was a little bit of some of my memories video made. Well, actually, was actually memories of 2018 and some of the major coaching events that I had. So, very warm welcome to all of those that I didn't get to greet. And welcome to the authority intro and info session on coaching. Now, the fact that you guys are here means you want to learn about this new era of coaching that I've been doing this for over 20 years. So if it means you're here, it means you have this desire to improve yourselves. Maybe you also want to have this desire to learn, empower, and maybe at the same time you want to build some revenue, earn some money from your knowledge or a topic that you're very passionate about. So before I get started and I start sharing my PowerPoint presentation, I'd like for everybody to quickly type in the chat box, where are you from? Which city are you from? Where are you coming from? So you can quickly type in the chat box whilst I quickly share my presentation. Quickly type out which city or where are you watching this presentation from. You can type it out in the chat box. Where are you watching from? Which city are you from? Hey, we have, oh, Kensei is in the room. Welcome, Kensei. We've got Plumfutin, Rushka Durban, Zainab Durban. Excellent. Oh, lots of Durbans. Okay, there we go. Fazila, Binoni. Excellent. Anybody else? Where else do we have? Oh, we've got Scott. Nalini. Hi, Nalini. I know Nalini. Nalini's daughter attended my program. Excellent. Good to have you here, Nalini. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So, guys, we have people from all over the place here. We've got a lot of KZNers, right? And we've got Gauteng, we've got Benoni, we've got Bloemfontein. And I'm sure there are others around, but nobody's really chatting as yet. So we have lots to cover. Let's get into it. And I'm pretty sure by now you guys can see my presentation. So just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat box, those of you that have responded. Can you see my presentation? Can you guys see the presentation? Just type in yes or give me a thumbs up. Oh, there we go. Excellent. Thank you very much for that confirmation. So once again, guys, like I mentioned, we all are here to learn about this industry that has, really taken the markets by storm, and that is the coaching industry. But there's something also that has also rocked the industry, and that is the actual, life coach. Everybody wants to be a life coach. Let me put it to you this way. You've got every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's saying, I'm a life coach, I'm a health coach, I'm this coach. And so there are lots of coaches out there. The thing that people are looking for now, people are actually looking for experts, people that are authorities, people that are leaders in their industries. So I want to show you tonight how to bypass that struggle that most life coaches are using and life coaches are facing with the coaching models that they're using. And I want to teach you tonight how to become an authority, an expert in your area. All right. So let me begin by asking a few simple questions. All right. Um, Number one, let me engage your imagination for a moment, right, guys? Can you imagine right now if you could actually create your very own economy? Now, when I call that ATM, means you have your own coaching programs that you can run at any time or make a sale anytime so that you can earn money from your knowledge because your coaching programs, that's your knowledge, right? Things that you are passionate about. Imagine having this ability, this power to really and deeply, what can I say, transform, uplift people, whilst at the same time being recognized as a leader, as a thought leader. Imagine being able to travel, going on holidays and getting paid to be on those holidays. Now, why do I say this, guys? At first, I remember I ran my very first retreat in 2011, and it was a leadership retreat for youth. And we only had space for 20 people. Eventually, we ended up taking 28. Now, that was us going to the Midlands. We went for a full week at a farm. And I was very happy because they allowed me to bring my entire family. So my family had an entire week holiday in the Bergs. And at the same time, I was doing a retreat. Now, mind you, it was not that I was, doing coaching the whole day. We used to only have 3 sessions in the day, right? I used to have one in the morning after breakfast, which was 90 minutes. Then we used to have one in the afternoon that was also 90 minutes. And I used to have one in the evening, which was actually for the parents. And in between, during the day, the guys were having their activities. They're going on rafting and, they did, I remember they did archery, horse riding, and a whole lot more. So imagine being, able to travel, go on holidays, and at the same time, get paid for that. One of my international trips, I remember, this was in 2017. I was asked to come to Botswana, Gaborone, and that trip was fully paid for by somebody in Gaborone, in Botswana, who actually paid for my entire 2 weeks holiday there. But at the same time, I was doing programs. I did programs for various schools, for students, for parents as well. And I also had had the pleasure of visiting all, as a holiday. I went to the game reserve and all of that. So yes, we can, as authorities, as experts, we can get paid for our travels, right? Also, when you're doing that level of work, you also now become somebody who's known as a mover and shaker. All right. And the best thing that you can ever do is, when you leave a legacy, when people remember you for how you made them feel and how you empowered them, that is huge. When they pray for you, when they make dua for you, dua, for those of you that don't know, in English, it's a prayer. When somebody makes a prayer for you, there's no value to that. Absolutely no value. Yeah. All right. So, guys, very quickly, what I'm going to cover in this 1 hour, just tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about my background, where I come from, what I do, and then I'll cover the I6 coaching system, the authority coaching system, and I'll give you an opportunity right at the end as well. All right. So, who is this guy, Junaid Bayat, telling us all about these great things about becoming a coach? Right. So, guys, before I even show you the system, you need to know, who am I? What gives me the authority or the credentials to speak to you about becoming an authority and earning this extra income as a side hustle, or if you want to look at it as a full-time opportunity as well. So, in a nutshell, guys, I'm the creator of the accelerated learning system as well as the personal power to success program. I've spent, I think, 20 plus years in the coaching industry. My background, very strangely, guys, is in technology. So I started working for Transnet as a solution specialist in 1993. The very next year after I matriculated, sorry, that was 1993, I matriculated. 1994, I started working for Transnet. And very soon, it was 2 years after I had started, end of 1995, 96, I started working with young kids, coaching a football team under 11. And I was addicted to it. I actually took a bunch of kids under 11 years old. We won the league and the cup. These kids had never played football in a structured format before. I coached them, motivated them, and eventually I was recognized by SAFA, at that time the Football Association for KZN, for my role and contribution as a coach. Had a very different approach. So I was really addicted to working with kids because I felt as though, I have a gift, or it was a calling, because I was really making a huge impact on these kids' lives. And then to get kids to come and play, I started visiting a lot of schools. But what I found was that a lot of parents didn't want their kids to, have these extracurriculars because they were struggling in school. So in 2004, I actually started my study skills business as a side hustle. So I'm still working for Transnet, but I started the side hustle as a coach, as a study coach. And I started teaching people how to learn in a very different way compared to the traditional ways. And that carried on. And in 2009, I actually resigned from Transnet, being a solution specialist, designing, network architecture and email systems. I resigned to do this full time. So since 2009, I've been coaching full time. All right. Just to tell you a little bit about what others have had to say about attending some of my programs. I just want to show you a few testimonials from students from the corporate world as well. This was a matric student. I remember very clearly, from the school in my hometown, Verulam Secondary. And look, she says, OMG, amazing, didn't expect so much. And the key here is, this really changed my life and my study. She said, I recommend it also to us. Awesome experience. Look at another one. Okay, let's look at another one. This was Leisha. Leisha, I hope she's on today. Leisha was the training manager at SA Home Loans. And Leisha had heard a lot about my programs that I used to run at SA Home Loans. One of the key things I must tell you guys, when I used to run programs at SA Home Loans, the moment they used to release the advert for my workshop, within 30 minutes, they used to always tell me this, within 30 minutes, the workshop used to be full. The whole training used to be full, because people, after they heard about the kind of programs that I bring and the kind of transformation, everybody wanted to attend. But here, I'm pretty sure you have read what she had to say, right? When you look at this, guys, right? When you use the right type of systems, when you have the right type of frameworks, the results start speaking for themselves. I mean, if you look at that, what she says there, the wisdom you've shared in our recent training, far too inadequate to say your workshop is life changing. And she told me she had traveled the world, America, London, Europe, and she told me she had actually said, "I think you up there in the top 5 in the world." So these are just a little bit of my accomplishments and my achievements in the coaching space and the trading space. A little bit more about what really made me the authority and the expert. Yes, PM asked if we could share the masterclass. Yes, you can share the masterclass. It will be also shared after the recording will be shared as well. Yes, definitely. All right. So a little bit about my coaching achievements. My signature program, Accelerated Learning, I launched it as a brand on its own in 2011. It exploded. I've been on various media, print media. I had my own radio show twice a week, right? I also started lecturing in 2013 at UKZN, and then it also moved to MUT as well. And because I was able to change, the trajectory and transform the results that we were getting, up till today, I still am able to guest lecture at UKZN whenever they have a problem, whether it's learning or delivering of lectures and content. They call me in to help turn performance around. And I was also very blessed to have been featured on national television. Now, I think it's more than once now. So I've been on TV like about 2 or 3 times, right? That was a huge, huge accomplishment for me because of the amazing results I achieved with matriculants 2 years in a row. My coaching program, my signature coaching program, has been used and trusted by over 145,000 students globally. Right? My some of my other programs have been used by over 10,000, 12,000 teachers and parents. And I also have certified and trained over 1,200 coaches globally, not just in South Africa, globally. A lot of big corporate companies use a lot of my programs. Why? One reason: it gets the results. Now, guys, I'm not trying to impress you, but let's be realistic. These are very impressive statistics, right? These are very impressive stats. So I'm actually trying to impress on the results. For me, these are results. So these are the results that I have achieved and accomplished over the years. So yeah, a lot of big corporate companies like SA Home Loans, Liberty Life, Gift of the Givers have been using my programs over the years for one reason: it gets the result. And also, I've been very blessed and privileged to have written a column for the Sunday Tribune for whole of 2017. I used to write this article on how the brain works and accelerated learning. And the last thing about me, guys, is I'm also a performance coach, a high performance private coach to Olympians, to judges, to magistrates. I've coached a lot of judges. Right now, I'm coaching 2 ministers in parliament. I've coached a lot of leaders in the country and my job is not to coach them in what they do. My job is to coach them in how to take their thinking to another level, how to create systems, for themselves in their lives. So that's a little bit about me. Enough about me. Let's talk about you. Okay, what is it that I want to do for you guys? Now, it's very simple, right? My objective is basically to empower you, inspire you, give you the kind of knowledge that you need to be able to become an authority in your area. And I'm going to do this with this unique coaching system that I've created, which is called the I6, right? The I6, there's 6 pillars. That's why it's called I6. It's number one, information. Number two, impact. Number three, income, right? We must get paid for our knowledge. Bills need to be paid, food needs to go on the table. So we need to make money as well. It's no use you just giving your knowledge for free, right? We need to know now, how can we get paid for that? So yeah, number one, information. Number two, impact. Number three, income. Number four, inspiration. Number five, implementation. And number six, investment. So my overall vision is to revolutionize and transform learning, teaching, and training. That's my big time vision in the world. And I love that. I get to do that every day of my life. Right. So let's look at the reality of what's going on. Here's this I6 that I was talking about. Number one, information. Number two, impact. Number three, income. Number four, investment. Number five, implementation. And number six, inspiration. All right. Let's go and look at what's going on in terms of information in the coaching industry. Guys, we're living in the age of knowledge and AI. Right now, a lot of people are able to even speak to AI and tell AI, I'm feeling sad right now, or I'm feeling down, right? And AI can speak to you and coach you. But at the end of the day, I've learned this from experience. It's a machine. It has absolutely no emotions. Now, when you want to work with people and you want to help them transform their lives, you got to show emotion. You got to empathize. You got to be, so that AI lacks the human touch. But what do we mean by the age of knowledge? Right now, people are looking for content. Like, for example, if you are trying to learn about banking or finances, you looking for content. It's there, it's available. The touch of a button, you can Google, you can use AI, and you can find, a whole lot of information. But the difference now, people are looking for high value content, content that's not like what everybody else has out there. So it needs to be very unique and very different. Okay. Then at the same time, what we need to know is we're living in the skills industry right now. The more skills you have, the more you will be able to earn, right? The more revenue you can earn. And at the same time, you want to have an active presence, right? You got to have an active presence. And best, a lot of people I know love the online world. I'm not that, you know, I'm not that active in my social media. But if you look at my social media, you'll find whatever's posted there is about the work that I do in person. So I'm very active down on the ground, being present in the areas, in the schools that need me. And that's why every week I'm in three or four different areas, right? So if you think about it, anyone can call themselves a coach right now, like online. So that's why I'm saying, in terms of the information that's available, there's so much of generic, saturated kind of advice that's generic, that's what needs to change. And that's why I say you need to be an authority, an expert who has a proven system or even a framework that can be implemented. Yeah. So, talking a little bit more about this coaching industry, right? Like what's going on in this industry? What are some of the trends? Like right now, there's a massive shortage of coaches for kids, teens, and youth, right? It's the second fastest growing career in South Africa right now. The kids coaching, right? Yes, coaching on the whole for professionals and adults is a big market right now, but there's a huge demand for life coaching for kids, teen coaching, emotional intelligence coaching. A lot of kids need that, and the most important one, which is basically your study coaching, because it's an evergreen market, meaning every year you're going to get grade fours, you're going to get, a certain grade. Kids are always going to schools. So right now, what's happening is the coaching industry is highly unregulated. So there are a lot of bodies out there that are trying to regulate the industry. But right now, there are no laws locally in South Africa as well as internationally that are, governing or regulating the coaching industry. So there are boards like Comensa in South Africa, the ICF and the ICR internationally that are global bodies, but they are just, merely trying to regulate. They not so much. There's no laws. In a nutshell, I can tell you there are no laws besides these big bodies that are trying to put in some regulations in place. All right. What we found right now that's on the uprise in trends is we call them academy learning, academy coaching, where a lot of people like to learn from videos. And I'm pretty sure all of you here may have learned something from YouTube, from TikTok. Maybe you needed to learn a new skill, something about your phone. So we all use this technology to be able to learn using video specifically. And the other very big thing is neuroscience has overtaken traditional psychology. So it's no more all about psychology. It's more about neuroscience. That's the leading, that's really what's leading the industry right now. You're going to have a lot of school, training schools and schools that are going to claim they're the best. There's no other school like them. Just understand, I believe there's a lot of people that can train you out there. Okay. You just need to, find the best and, look at track records. Like we know post COVID, a lot of people suddenly came out, offering tuitions, and suddenly everybody was a tutor, especially after COVID, right? But I always say, look at the track record. How long have these guys been doing this? Yeah, but at the same time, also, you might hear horror experiences of people who say, I never want to. Now, that generally happens when like I said, every Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to be a coach and tries to coach. Because why I say we need to be an expert. What the general Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to be a coach, this is what they do. A friend of them starts telling them, oh man, you know what, I'm having issues at home, or I'm having a problem with my wife or my partner. They say, yeah, you know what, I'm a coach, I can coach you on that. They meet another friend or somebody, who says, hey, I'm having a problem with my business, or I've got this issues in business, I can go. They want to coach everybody on everything, right? So this is the big thing, is we should not be coaching everybody on everything. What we need to do as an authority is look for what is the audience, who specifically would you like to coach, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And right now, most corporate companies are using coaching. They started off, especially in 2013, 2014, 2015, with a lot of executive coaching, right? That means all the leaders, the managers, the directors at that level, they started having executive coaches. And now I've noticed it's filtered down over the last 10 years. We'd say it's now filtered down even to employees having coaching sessions. It depends who the service providers are, but a lot of them have coaches in their lives. Right. So, what's happening in terms of moving forward? Well, if we look at it, the future belongs to those that now become specialists, meaning they specialize on a specific topic with specifically a target audience. They know exactly who they want to work with. A simple example would be somebody who says, I want to work with young teens aged from 13 to 16 on self-confidence. Now, if you have a teenager at home, or if you have a child that's a teenager that's between 13 and 16, that will resonate, to you if I told you, hey, I'm coaching 13 to 16-year-olds on self-confidence. If you have a child that's 13 to 16, you're going to go, wow, this is for me. I have a 13 or a 14 or a 15-year-old. But if somebody says, hey, I'm a life coach and I'm doing life coaching and self-confidence coaching, doesn't really connect, doesn't really resonate. It's too broad. So this is what I'm talking about. The future of the coaching industry in the next 3 to 5 years is looking like, it's going to be dominated by these people that become very specialized in who they want to coach and what topics they want to work on. Also, they need to have a proven, system, or you have to create a system, right? And you're going to find that these people that are, like I said, specialists or experts or authorities in their areas, they're going to be able to demand much higher fees. People will look for them, right? People will be looking for them and their services, their knowledge. So my advice is, if you want to get in this industry, you want to look for and get quality, high quality training, get accredited, even if it's locally. But the key is you must strive to be the best. I always say, look to be the best. In the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see that almost every teacher in schools will be accredited and certified as coaches. So it's becoming a very professional pathway career where even like teachers can do it in the corporate workspace. You're going to have certain employees who are, they have certain qualities and characteristics that will be more likely also to be trained as coaches for the workplace, right? And we currently have that at some of the corporates. All right. In the long term, right, over the next decade or so, we're going to find that coaching is going to become a very highly respected profession where people will look up to these people, especially for direction, for leadership, for certain skills that they're looking for. So, what does this mean in a nutshell? It very simply means one thing that I would put it in is yes, all of this, but it's a huge, huge opportunity for you to now do what you really love, what you're passionate about, and get paid for it. So yes, the future looks very bright for those of you that want to get in the coaching industry. The market is huge, absolutely huge, and there is enough for everybody and more, especially if you are working with young minds, kids, teens, youth, right? The market there is so huge. The demand is so huge, not just locally, internationally as well. Every kid, guys, this is very frightening statistic. 1 in 3 kids in South Africa has thought about suicide. 1 in every 3, 33% of kids in South Africa. When I was a kid, to think of something like that was like, yo, it was huge. But now, the children of today in 2025, 2026, they facing many different challenges we never even thought we would have experienced. So there's a huge opportunity for the kids market, coaching young minds, coaching kids, coaching teens and youth. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this is what I was speaking about, right? Who specifically do you want to coach? Right. Now this comes before income. That's why I've got it. You need to know who you want to work with. As an authority, as a coach, one of the things is, like I said, we must master what these people, who we want to serve, who we want to coach, who we want to work with. If you say, right, I want to work with primary school kids, maybe you can say age 10 to 12. You want to master what are their big stresses? What are they struggling with? What's really tough for them? So we need to become a master of all their pains, and we must be able to I must tell you, I there was a school I visited, and one of the students, bright, very bright young lady, she said, her words were, he knows us better than we know ourselves. All I was doing was talking about what are the common challenges and obstacles they face at that grade. And automatically, because she could resonate, she's like, oh yeah, that's me. I need more time. I need a better memory. I need to be stress free. I Suddenly she was like, this guy knows us better than we know ourselves. But all I was doing is highlighting all their stresses, all the things that really keep them awake or is not getting them to be where they want to be. And another very big thing, right? You need to know who you want to work with. You need to know what are their problems. And as an authority, your job is to solve their problems. So your paid programs are basically your coaching is solving the problems that they currently have. And right now, different types of people, different ages, right, all have certain problems. Now, if you are able to alleviate, solve a problem, people are willing to pay you for that, right? There's a value that they can put to having that problem removed from their lives, especially if it's mental health, trauma, issues from childhood, these kind of things. They're looking for somebody that can help them to overcome that. But like I said, what you got to do is you got to have programs. Okay. And in your programs, you got to have frameworks. Use frameworks. This is the one thing that set me apart very early on in the coaching industry is I used to create unique frameworks. Like when I say the I6, right? I6, 6 I's, it's a framework. If I told you it's the ABCs of high performance, that's a framework. So a framework is basically a system that is easily remembered. Okay. So that's a little bit about impact, right? You need to know who you want to coach. That's your playing field. There are different types of coaches. You get a relationship coach, you get a study coach, you get an emotional intelligence coach, parent coach, teen coach. There's different types of coaches, right? And like I said, your programs need to have frameworks and you have to master their stresses, their pains. Now, let's talk about the interesting thing, right? This is what a lot of you wanted to know, right? The income, the money, right? Right. So we want to know. Now, generally in traditional coaching, if you went for coach training, you'll find that the traditional coaching model always tries to sell people to do one-on-one coaching, right? Now, understand that one-on-one coaching, not many people are able to afford. Like, for example, if I were to ask somebody, hey, if your coaching fees are like, let's just say, for example, it's 4,000 rands per month. Not many people are able to just afford, 4,000 rands a month. But if I told you, hey, what if I can do the exact same coaching that I would do one on one, instead of you investing 4,000 rand, why don't you invest 400 rands? Because I have a group of 10 people who have exactly the same kind of problem that you have. And now it's suddenly more affordable. So when I came in the coaching industry, I found that it was better. So I flipped the whole industry on its head. I said, stop going for one on ones because not many people can afford that kind of fees. But if you run a group coaching, like for example, if I have a group of 5 people or 10 people paying me 400 rands, it's much more easier for me to tell a parent, hey, I have a program, it's 400 rands per month for 4 sessions. I just need to mute. There we go. There's a program that I run. It's 400 rands for 4 sessions, 1 session a week, which is 1 hour a week, right? Now, when you do these groups, you'll have a small percentage of people who'll want to join your one-on-ones. Now, at the same time, besides group, you can also run coaching events. Like, for example, we have mini workshops. I go to schools and I'll tell the school, I want to run a focus, concentration, and attention workshop for grade fours, right? And generally, a mini workshop is anything from 90 minutes to about 2 to 3 hours, like a half a day thing. Okay. So you could run, okay, now that's kind of long for grade fours. Normally, I would run something like an hour or so for grade fours, but you get the idea. It's about me going to a school and telling them, I want to run a session on memory for all your grade eights. It's going to be a 2 hour session. That's called a mini workshop. You can run a 1 day workshop. You can run an online webinar just like this, right? You can run camps. Now, camps are also a very big thing. Schools love running these orientation camps, leadership camps. They do a lot of camps. A boot camp is basically like a 2 day camp. And then you have these retreats where, like I told you, you go away somewhere for a holiday, some beach place or somewhere in the Midlands, 5 days, 6 days. Those are much more expensive, right? Generally, for a retreat, the fees are per person, it's like anything from 5,000 upwards, right? Now, if you got 20 people, you do the math, it becomes really worthwhile financially to run these things every now and then. Then also, you can earn income as, as this authority with your own programs that you put online. So the very same programs that you run in person, now you can record these programs and you can run it as courses that are online, that you put it online, and now it's, recurring income. So a lot of my courses that I teach kids have been recorded just like this, right? Where I taught it live and then we go get it edited by the video editors and we put it up into our academy. We've got what we call an LMS, a learning management system. We put it on the portal. So there's courses there. Even the authority coach training, one of the ways in which we deliver it is a self-study online program with 12 modules. Yeah. So you got to, as an authority, you got to have at least one or two of your own programs. You don't want to just be coaching off the fly and go to a, client. That's what a lot of coaches were doing, where they just go, listen, tell you something. So there's no set like program or where they're walking you through something. So your courses, your programs that creates the transformation has to walk people through certain steps to achieve a certain result. And the last thing, like I said, you don't chase one on ones. Let one on ones chase you. When you're an expert, a small percentage of people that attend your groups, that attend your events, whether it's workshops, whether it's a retreat, a seminar, or even your courses, a small percentage will always want one on
I
ones.
know.
And that's what you do, right? Don't chase one on ones because that's what the whole industry is doing. I say, as an authority, as an expert, let them chase you. So let's look at the money, or we call it the return on investments. So there's several ways in which you could, earn an income. These are some of the ways that we just spoke about, right? They can be groups, they can be, masterminds, it can be a retreat, can be one-on-one, it can be a boot camp, workshop. These are some of the ways. Now, let's look at some of the monies, right? If you run a group coaching program, which is what I started doing very early on, right? So group coaching program, I love running them in person. You can run them on a Zoom webinar like this. You can run it on Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups. I've got people, coaches that I've certified that run their coaching on their own WhatsApp groups, right? So I run my coaching programs. It's a 1 hour session a week for a certain age group. Like, for example, we say grade sevens, right? Now, in that group, let's just say you run a group. You're running that session 1 hour every week, means 4 sessions in a month, right? Now, all you do is you charge them 400 rands per month, or for the 4 sessions, right? Now, guess what? If you only have 5 students, now if you were running for grade seven, you got 5 grade 7 students in your group coming to you every week for 1 hour. Let's just say you're running your program on a Saturday morning, 9 to 10. Now the fee is 400 rands. That's very affordable. So yeah, it's very affordable. And to get 5 students into your one-on-one, into your group program is much more easier than getting a one-on-one person to pay you 4,000 rands. So you're going to look for 5 people who will pay you 400 rands in your group. And guys, I'm using very conservative, very small numbers, right? And I'm pretty sure you'll all agree with me that to get 5 people, let's just say you're running grade seven, 5 grade 7s to attend my exam program, right? And you charge them 400 rands. That gives you some revenue. That gives you 2,000 rands per month. Now, if you run 2 groups, maybe you run one group for primary school kids and one for high school kids, right? So one at 9 to 10 on a Saturday morning, and the next group you can run at, for example, 11 to 12 for high school, or maybe 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 in the afternoon. So now it means you have 2 groups at 1 hour sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, one for primary school, one for high school. Now, if you've got 2 groups with only 5 kids in there, that's a potential extra income of 4,000 rands per month, which is 2,000 rands per group. That's not too shabby for just 2 hours of work. All right. Now, if you're running events, like I said, if you could run, for example, a 1 day workshop, like, for example, we run our most popular workshop is the exam workshop, the ACO exam workshop. You start at 9 a.m. and you can finish at around about 3, and it's a whole day session. If you're charging 100 rand per person and you run one in a month, like maybe a Sunday, right? For the whole Sunday, you're running one workshop and you're targeting just 20 people, only 20 people to attend your workshop at 100 rands. That's an extra 2,000 rands for the day. If you run a 2 day camp or a workshop where it's maybe over Saturday and Sunday, or it could be 2 full Saturdays or 2 Sundays, one this week and one next week. So a 2 day workshop, and you charging again 200 rand per person instead of the normal 100 rand because it's 2 days. So if you got, again, you're targeting only 20 people, suddenly you got 4,000 rands of income with that 20 people, okay, paying you 200 rands each. And then if you run a mini workshop, we charge anything from 30 bucks all the way to 150 rands. And yes, sometimes you get schools will give you 200 and 300. They give you big numbers. But let's use a very small number and use like, okay, I'm going to run a mini workshop of 1.5 hour on focus, concentration, and attention. And I'm going to charge people 60 rands, right? And I'm looking for 50 certain grade to come on this program, this workshop for 1.5 or 2 hours on focus, concentration, and attention. And we're going to charge them 60 rands. Now, for that 2 hours or so, 1.5 to 2 hours, 50 people paying you 60 rand, you made a cool 3,000 rands. Now remember, these are all 1 day, 2 day, or a half a day event. If we run one every month, one half a day, one 2 day workshop, like a whole weekend, and maybe one day workshop, right, in a month, that can give you a cool, if we add all of this up, that's 9,000 rands. Not too shabby. Will an extra 9,000 rands make a difference in your lives? I'm pretty sure you're shaking your head and saying, yeah, definitely, right? So let's look at it even more. If you run these camps, right, you get leadership camps, you get, these study camps, you get orientation camps. If you generally run a camp, right, run a 2 day camp or a seminar, right, or a retreat, and you charging very minimal again, 400 rands per person, and you targeting 20 for your camp, 20 people, right? Suddenly, that's an extra 8,000 rands. Not too shabby again, right? So again, I'd ask you, would an extra 8,000 rands make a difference in your life? I'm pretty sure you're going to say yes. So also the group programs that you run, you could run them as a webinar as well. So Saturday, you're running in-person groups. On a weekday, like maybe a Tuesday or a Wednesday, you now can run the same program on a webinar. The reason why I used to do this is people want to attend my program, but I live in Durban. And then there's people from, for example, from Eastern Cape, from Cape Town, from Johannesburg, from Lodium, from Lens, from Benoni that want to attend the program. So how do they access me? I also run the same programs via Zoom. And again, if you run the same, it's $100 extra compared to the group. Now, if you got only five students in your Zoom program, only five, paying you 500 rands a month. The reason why we made it $500, not 400, is you're going to have a tool like I am using Zoom, right? So you want to pay, I use a paid version so that it stores and do all the funny things, the fancy things that it can give you, right? And you can do long sessions as well. But if you got five students in your live webinar, five times $500, that's an extra 2,500 rands. Now, if you run two webinars like that in the week, 1 hour a week, right? This now is giving you an additional 5,000 rands per month extra income. Again, for the third time, I'm going to ask you, would an extra 5K make a difference in your life? I'm pretty sure it would. And then, like I said, there's going to be a small percentage of people that's going to chase you for their one-on-one. Parents will come, my child attended your workshop. I would love if you could do one-on-one for them. All right. And if you take, for example, just one, okay, let's just say you're charging 1,000 rands for 4 sessions. Okay. Let's just say you're charging 1,000 rands per month for 4 sessions. Now, this is not my fees. I charge close to 4,000 rands per month, right? But let's just say you're an entry level, you're a new coach, and you're charging 1,000 rands per month for 4 sessions, which works out to like around about 250 rands per session. Now, if you got three one-on-ones, three people who want your private one-on-one, suddenly you now have 3 times 1,000, an extra 3,000 rands per month, right? And that takes you only 12 hours of work for that extra 3,000 rands. So if you look at these incomes, right, suddenly it really adds up. Okay. Now let's cut this number. Let's drop this number. Let's half this number. Let's half it. We've already covered, and I told you these are minimal numbers. If I halve it and I asked you, let's say 12,500 rand, would an extra 12,500 rands a month make a difference in your life as, with a side hustle? What would you say? Type into the chat box, guys. Would an extra, okay, let's round it off. Instead of saying 12, let's say 10,000 rands, right? Based on what I already showed you. Let's just say you did some groups, you run two webinars, and you run some online events. and you got some one-on-ones, right? Would an extra 10 grand a month make a difference in your life? Type out in the chat box. What would it do? Would it make an extra? Absolutely, definitely. Big help. There we go. You see? So this is what I'm talking about. This is absolutely right. So big time. There we go. So what we need is a proven system. Now, when you run your coaching sessions, what is your job as an authority? Your job is as an authority is to lift, empower. How do we uplift them? You're going to uplift them with your systems, with your new ways, right? With your motivation, with your inspiration, with your body, with your stories. Your job is to constantly grow people, uplift them, and leave them better than what you found them. Okay. Also, we need to look at how does it benefit. You need to look at benefit extension means, like, for example, a child who has anger management issues, right? If you coaching, people with emotional issues, specifically anger issues, right? How does that impact the others in the family? That's what I mean by benefit extension. Because if you help transform this child, help them to manage their anger and overcome these outbursts, how does it impact the family? How does it benefit the family? Okay. And one of the biggest things, guys, there's different levels of change. A lot of people like to change, for example, when they coach. I've noticed this all over the world, not just in South Africa, but when they coach, they want to coach, for example, on a very small level. They want to coach like, changing the environment, changing a behavior. The best kind of change comes when you are able to change the way somebody sees themselves or the way or what they believe is now possible. When you are able to bring about a belief change in somebody, suddenly, everything changes. Simple example, a simple example, guys. If I told all of you right now, I'm going to write 100 words, right? Random words. I'm going to ask all of you for some random words, and I'm going to put the 100 words on the screen on my presentation. And if I told all of you, I want you to memorize all 100 words in order in 10 minutes. Can you do it? Type in the chat box. 10 minutes, 100 words in order, random words. Can you do it? Type it in the chat box. Yes or no? A lot of people go, no, no. Okay. You don't have to send it privately. Yeah, it's hardly possible, right? That's the thing. But the reason why most people would say no, say Fazila says impossible, that's because right now you are at point A, you want to get to point B, and point B means I'm looking for a certain result. That result is I want to learn 100 words. Now, to learn 100 words means I need to take some actions, right? Also, it means I need to behave in a certain way. Now, what results you get, what action you take or don't take, and how you behave are things that you can see with your eyes. You can see this. But there's something that you can't see, and it has a direct impact on all three, drives all three. That is what you believe. What you believe. Like right now, all of you that said no, hardly, impossible, that's because you believe you can't do it. But what if I came and told you guys, I told you guys, listen, I've written a book called Memory Mastery in 2019. I teach a memory course where we teach 25 different memory techniques. I'm going to teach you a memory technique where you can learn and remember 600 words in order in 10 minutes. If I teach you this technique, now that you know the technique and I've taught you this technique, now if I give you 100 words, now guys, now will you be able to remember or learn the 100 words? Type in the chat box. What would you say? Now that you know a technique that can teach you how to remember 600 words, now if I gave you 100 words, would you be able to do it? Yep. Yes, definitely. What's changed? The only one thing that's changed is now your belief that, yes, I can do it when I know how. So suddenly your behavior will change. Number two, you'll take action. When you don't know how to do it and you don't believe, you'll say, Junaid, you're wasting my time. I'm not even going to waste my time to do that. So now that you believe, yes, you can do it, your behavior changes, right? Your action will be that I will take action because I know a system, I know a framework, I know a way in which I can do that. So the result will be that yes, I will learn 100 words. I might make a mistake here or there, but I know the 100 words. You see, so you got to play at that level. When you want to become that expert, that authority, you got to learn how to shift and transform the way people look at themselves, how they see what's possible for themselves, their own identity, and what they believe, whether they can or they can't achieve. So that means you got to use influence and persuasion, but it always has to be ethically. Okay. That's a little bit about the inspiration. Also, guys, remember there's three levels of learning. Level zero is what I call insight. They're big aha moments. A lot of people say, wow, that was amazing what you thought. That's just an insight. That's an aha moment, right? There's no real action. Level one is where what we call behavioral change. So level one is where there is some kind of action with a time frame. So if I ask this person, what did you learn on this webinar? They would say, I learned the I6. I know from today, I'm going to, find out who exactly I want to coach and what are their pains. Now, suddenly, there's some kind of action, some kind of behavioral change. So level one is when you'll see behavioral change, meaning there's going to be an action and there's a time frame. They're going to start at some point. They're going to do it at a certain time frame. Level two is actual transformation. That's where now suddenly, where they were right down, now that they know the system that you taught them, their whole life transformed, their education transformed, their whole confidence, the emotional intelligence, everything transforms. Okay. So that's where you want to aim for is transformation. But to get to transformation, you have to have behavioral change where there's actions. And the way to get that is with proven systems that are in place. Okay. Like I said, now what you got to do to get that is you got to run your programs. You implement your programs. Your programs is basically to empower them with skills, new ways, new techniques, right? You got to give them high value skills that's going to benefit them and make a difference in their lives. What will happen is automatically they're going to start getting results, right? And you must be able to deliver your program in different ways, whether it's via video. But I must tell you guys, the best, and up till today, I will always tell people the best way to achieve results is still best in person. Always best in person. Yes, you can have a video course recorded, you can do webinars like this, but the best channel is always live in person when the person can see you and you can see them. That's still the very best. So, guys, the key is you have to master implementation. And when you master implementation, one of the most important things is to ask for people's feedback. What was the experience like? You know, they once they tell you, oh man, you know what, my results went from here to there. Suddenly, these are testimonials. And right now, we're living in an age of a lot of social, what can I say? Social influence. People will look to what others are doing socially or in their social circles, and they make decisions based on that. All right. So the key is to now actually give people these new ways, new skills. One of the ways in which you can learn for yourself as an authority to become an authority is to become an authority. One is I can do it with results. Okay, meaning I go out there and I get the results for students or whoever it is I'm working with. Or I can speak about cutting edge research. I can go up and read and do research. And now I can go and deliver that information, that knowledge, that research that I went and did. I can now teach that to others. So that's another way in which you could empower them. And like I said, best way to deliver your programs is always in person. And like I said, you need proven systems and ways. And that's what we have as authority coaches, right? So let's look at the last one, and that is the investment, right? So right now we have where we offering people the opportunity to join the authority coach training. I run this normally 3 times in the year. Okay. It's the authority coach system comes with currently you'll get 4 certifications, right? A authority coach, authority teen coach, authority life coach for kids, and an emotional intelligence coach. The study coach is a separate, completely separate training certification program. But yes,
And to start
these
a new video, still listen to it, or like, hey, okay, where's my sleeping tablets?
No, but if
keeping
your
yourself.
sleeping tablets make you sleep a lot,
Yeah, because
Jenny, we can hear you. Okay, so I've muted you. Okay. So yeah, apologies for that. But yeah, so guys, what you can do is these are the also another very big industry that has now been gaining a lot of traction, I'd say, over the last 10 years is working with parents, parent coaching, coaching parents on how to deal with kids, different, obviously different age groups, different, right? So we've got that as well. So yeah, so guys, basically that's the opportunity, and program follows 12 core modules, right? And the first part, if you look at it, how do we, teach this entire authority coach program? It's basically in these 4 phases, right? The first phase is all about giving you a strong foundation. And, guys, the other very interesting thing about this authority coach training, a lot of people come on this training not to be coaches. That's very strange. However, I've noticed that a lot of people come to it for self development, to improve themselves. But nevertheless, just to tell you a little bit about the curriculum, it's 12 modules. Each module is run every Sunday night, like how we did it today, from 8 o'clock to around about 9:30. Okay. Phase one is all about creating a very strong foundation and having the growth mindset, the right kind of mindset. Phase two is a lot about, I'm going to call it linguistics, language, advanced communication, using storytelling, and using strategic interventions. That's what phase two is all about. Then phase three is all about building systems and creating your we call it your signature program. We on the training we teach you how to create your unique, your own very own training program. We also teach you a lot about how to brand your program, right? You'll also learn about accelerated learning systems. And the fourth phase is all about business, how to actually treat your coaching as a business, right? Where you know exactly how to market and sell different coaching, whether it's services, products, or whatever it is, and positioning yourself as an expert. All right. So that's the 12 modules. And what I've done is there's a whole lot of bonuses, right? So if you join, when you join, you're not just getting a course, guys, you're getting a complete business in a box. So even if you don't create your own coaching program, we're going to give you a few of our coaching course from the Personal Power program that I've created for kids, which I've been teaching for many years. So we give you everything. We give you the slides, we give you the student manuals, everything that you need to run the Personal Power for Kids or Personal Power for Teen programs. And you're going to get, for example, all the coaching documents that we use. You're going to get your own email address, your name at Authority Coach, because it's more professional than you using a Gmail, because, even kids use Gmail accounts. So you get a recording of the full 4-day training, which I ran in Johannesburg. It was professionally recorded with massive big cameras and stuff like that. And yeah, so you get everything basically, even in the coaching programs. For each session, we give you a script of what to say, what questions to ask. So you get everything that you need to actually run a successful coaching program. So the next program is going to be on the 12th. It starts on the 12th of April, right? The 12th of April is the authority coach training every Sunday night.
you know what she was doing yesterday? Stop. And then she was like,
Let me find who's that. It's
And then I
gently.
do.
It's not muting. Okay, seems to be muted. So yeah, like I was saying, the next cohort of coach training happens. It starts on the 12th of April, and it will finish on the 28th of June 2026. That's 12 weekly modules. It's world class. I noticed there were one or two people who were on the training earlier on. I thought I saw Lord Mokhatsi. Yeah, Lord is here. Mokhatsi. Lord, you've attended the program last year, I think. Am I right? What was your experience? If you could share.
It was really powerful for my life actually, and for the people that I'm training. Actually, I'm having a signature program that is called Sora and is doing so well.
Oh,
Sora
fantastic.
is
Now,
the
now, Lord,
state
please
of the
just tell them
relationship.
I didn't ask you to do this. I just saw he was here and I said, let me ask him to tell you guys. Okay. So it was nothing planned. I just saw that he was here and I said, let me tell him to give his feedback. That, you heard it, right? So, yeah. So, guys, that's the 12-week program. If you want any more information, I can share with you a few of the brochures and the breakdowns of what we cover in depth. We've got material. Then, if you also don't have the time to attend the webinars, we have a self-study program of the exact same 12 modules that's recorded and put online. In terms of live workshops, we've got the program that will run. This is more towards the end of the year, well, middle of the year in July. I'll be in Santon doing the 4-day program. And the same program will be run the next week in July here in Durban. And also for those that want, for example, private one-on-one. There's a lot of, for example, there's a lot of Muslim ladies like they don't like, or they may be in parda, or they don't like to, attend these programs in groups. So a lot of times, sometimes you'll find that they'll ask, can you do this one-on-one? So I run it like a Zoom sessions like this, or it might be in person. So I can do that, and that's more very personalized, very customized. So guys, if you're interested, do pop me a message and let's get started. People need to be coached. People are looking for coaches. Let's get you guys coached and ready to empower the next generation. That's it from me, guys. Any questions? The floor is yours. Any questions? There was a bonus that I was going to put. There we go, Kensei. Kensei has a question. Go for it, Kensei.
Hi, everyone. Hello, Junaid. How are you?
Hello, Kensei.
Good, good. It's been a long time. Tell me,
Yes.
or should I ask you that privately, as this will be a refresher for me because it's been a while not practicing. Do
Okay.
you have a special price or is it the same
Yeah,
price?
there will be a no, no, it's not the same price. For those that have attended before, this program is actually completely different from what you actually learned. Very different. You'll find the content is much more in-depth, more advanced, much more easier. So there's a reduced rate for those that have attended before, and you get a 50% discount. That's what happened in the last batch that just finished. They finished on Friday, this past Friday. The last 12-week program started in late November, early December, and we finished last week Friday. So there were about 4 or 5 who had attended previously. They attended previously. They even attended. Some of them had attended live 4-day workshops. But like we said, this is a whole new program. It's much more advanced, much more in depth, more easier to understand. It's much more simplified, and the system is much more easier in terms of delivering as well. Does that answer your
Thank
question,
you.
Kense? Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions? You can type it out as well if you like. If you don't want to speak, you can type it out. I'll give it another minute or so. If you have a question, you're most welcome to ask. Those that will be watching this on the replay, I decided to add a bonus, but it's going to be only for the next 3 days. Those of you that attended today or that have registered to attend this webinar, so those of you that are listening on the recording as well, the bonus that you're going to have is you'll get a full one-on-one session with me, right? With me, where I will help you strategize and plan what's best for you in moving you forward as an authority coach and what to implement. And I'll also help you privately to create your, over and above you being doing it in the group, I'll help you create your signature program where I'll create the slideshows and the study guides and the trainers guides and all of that for you as well. That's a bonus for the next 3 days only. It's 72 hours and it's only for those that have registered for this webinar. Only for those. Okay, so guys, it seems like there's no questions. Any other questions? Anybody? Any questions? Any comments? Any comments? Was this of value to you? Did it make, did it add value to your lives? You can type out in the chat box if you like. There we go. Fazila, oh, price. For what? Fazila, you can send me a message and I can show you. Well, let me give it to you guys. The 12-week program, Ken says marvelous. The 12-week program is 7,500. That's your international accreditation and certification, as well as the done for you coaching program. Okay. The online version is 4,997. And the 4-day workshop is 9,997. And the private one-on-one coaching is a customized program. So if you want, there's also, if there's a need, only if there's a need, there are payment plans available. And that's only if there's a need, there's a dire need. But yeah, so there's a payment plan in place as well. All right. Okay, guys, that's it from me. Thank you very much. And if you have any other questions, that's my contact details here. You can send me an email or SMS or a WhatsApp. But yeah, oh, thank you as well, Fazila. Thanks a lot. Good to have you here. We must actually connect again. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much. God bless everybody. Have a fantastic evening. And until next time.